Things like that in professional boxing, it happened. Yeah, so we just gotta take it and move on and be stronger. I had to convince my parents because most parents wouldn't want your kid to be in the kitchen. It's like a tough life. It's something very unique. You're not gonna hear Texan and Japanese fusions just like that, right? This is something that is definitely out of the usual.
Welcome to Before We Get There, the podcast where we explore people's journeys, how they got to where they are, what keeps them pushing forward, and where they eventually want to get to. I'm your host, Nicholas Braman, and today I'm joined by Davis Ng, a professional boxer and chef who just won the WBC Silver Asia Middleweight title. His restaurant Kemuri, which is Texas barbecue and Japanese fusion, is in Balestier, and you can order smoked meat to cook at home from baconking.sg. In this discussion, we talked about his boxing career and getting over defeats, how he launched his first business while still in culinary school, his epic internship at a famous Austin barbecue joint, how he ended up opening a restaurant so quickly, and much, much more. Enjoy the show. First of all, congratulations. You just won the WBC Asia Silver Middleweight Championship.
Yeah, thank you.
Con-
Thank you for it.
Congratulations. So how long have you been boxing?
I've been boxing for about 11 years.
Wow. And how many matches have you had in that time?
Including the amateurs, I would say about 40 to 55.
Wow, that's a lot. So how long did it take you to get in the rankings or contention to be the champion?
Because I was only I started pro when I was 20, and then it took, because of school, army and everything, so I took an honor career, and then basically it took, since I started pro, about 4 or 5 years, about there, to get into the rankings and catch up to everyone.
Wow. And I think it's safe to say this was the biggest fight of your career so far?
Yeah.
And so how did that feel when you were preparing and then finally afterwards, after you won?
When I was preparing, it was more, I just had to cope with the business, the food business, and then on top of training a lot more than I would in the previous part. I would say it's quite tough, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. And then when it finally came to the day before the fight, when in the weigh-ins, it was a tough week. It was I think we had to cut about 5 kilos on that day.
Wow.
It was tough. But after the fight, it was emotional and very, just surreal.
And so how did you get started boxing?
I always loved boxing at around the age of 9. And then my dad, he was this Mike Tyson, you're a usual Muhammad Ali. So growing up, I was just watching what he watches. That kind of built unknown passion in me. And then from there, I started secondary school, which is St. Andrews. I don't know if you've heard, they had boxing every national day. So I joined boxing when I started upper secondary school, which is 15 years old. Yeah, so from there, and then I had an experience, and then that's where after secondary school, I joined the gym I'm at now, Fight Promotion.
So you've been with that gym all the way?
All the way, 11 years, all the way.
Wow, that's cool. I do some combat sports, jiu-jitsu mostly, and then a little bit of striking, Muay Thai. One of my favorite things about being in a combat sport is the bond that you build with your gym mates and kind of the community that's there. I'm sure that's even stronger, you growing up around the gym and around the team.
Yeah. I would say gym mates aside, the best relationship you're going to have with is your coach. The coach is the next thing through the father of the gym. We spend on and off many problems that we had to go through, many, with the moving of the gym, all that stuff. And also we are the organizer of the KDX events. We had to, up to now, I think the event I thought was KDX 65. So that's a large event, especially in Singapore. That bond with him, I just can't, being there for 11 years under his wing, it showed me a lot with how he would take care of me and just make sure that every fight I am on top. Yeah, end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool relationship. And I'm sure it's helped you outside of just boxing, right? But usually there's a mentor figure like that. You'll take some lessons into other parts of your life as well.
Definitely. Other than that, I would say army, he used to be an a regular in the army. And then what I went through in army, top pairings, he was there as well.
And I think that boxing 40 matches is a lot of matches. So have you had some losses during that time?
Yeah, definitely. I learned a lot from some losses. Some losses felt like a robbery, it's all a part of it. Yeah, but I learned a lot.
Are there any in particular that stand out as being the toughest to take?
I think I would say maybe one of the professional fights with an Indonesian. I lost to him via split decision. In the fifth round, if I remember correctly, I saw a knockdown, but the referee said it was the fifth. But it was quite clear it was a knockdown. And if that were could be a knockdown, it would have been a pure win. Things like that in professional boxing, it happened. Yeah, so we just gotta take it and move on and be stronger. Yeah.
So how did you get over it after the fight was over?
It's just back to the square one. You gotta just reset and make sure that your conditioning is right and everything. Because back then, I believe that was my second or third professional fight. And I would compare it to other professional boxers in Singapore. Having a loss 2 fights or 3 fights in is not the most ideal for that career. End of the day, it's just moving forward, keeping your head up and then focusing on the main goal, which is just continue fighting,
Yeah. So I want to get back to boxing later, but before we get too far into this, one of the most interesting things about you and actually how I came to know you is through your food businesses.
Yeah.
When you started smoking bacon, I think was the first thing you did. Maybe you can share a bit about how that started. I think you went to culinary school, but this home business of smoking bacon in your backyard, how did that all start?
Okay, so I was in University of America, CIA. If you heard of that, we are the only international branch in Singapore. I started my culinary journey there. There was a class in Dar Majid. It's like this. And that class was just on smoking, curing meat, smoking. And then I thought it was really primal and cool of just preserving meat with salt and smoking it to preserve it. That made me fall in love with the art of curing meat. Yeah. I started the business just out of, it just happened because I just wanted to cure bacon out of nowhere. And then maybe I had a small little Weber grill and then I used that to set the indirect heat and then just smoke a small little piece of bacon that I cured. Yeah. And then that kind of sprung into something that I started buying small fairs, putting it into my ex-girlfriend's place, and then I would smoke there. Yeah.
Is that why she's your ex-girlfriend? I'm joking. No, I think that's pretty interesting in itself to go to CIA. I didn't even realize I was in the F&B industry for a while in the US. I know some chefs, and of course, I'm big fans of some celebrity chefs, Anthony Bourdain, etc. But so I've heard of CIA before, but I had no idea that there was a branch here. how did you end up find your love for food in the first place and want to go to the Culinary Institute for your education?
How did I find out? Like my family loves to cook. It was like every family different. The food is always an event. There's always food in an event. And I would say just growing up, looking at like my grandma, how she cooks, and just my dad, that kind of like revolves around me, the idea of and the love of cooking. But I didn't like help. I didn't help them with those stuff, but um, I think it was like maybe secondary school or primary school. I started with fry right, you know. Yeah, but that was like the start of just trying to cook. Yeah, yeah. I also grew up with Asian food channel and all that kind of stuff. Like my family just grew up watching there. That's sure.
And so then you made the decision that you wanted to be a chef, and so that's why you went to CIA.
Yeah, I would say that because when I was later into my maybe 40 years at 70 years old, that I started like cooking like more steaks for my dad's friend. And then like they encouragement for me and this very good steak, all that kind of support just sparked the interest of maybe I should go to a professional school. And then, yeah, then I would say that's how it started. Yeah.
And was that a difficult decision? Because I think in Singapore, first of all, Singaporeans love their food. And you have the whole hawker culture, which, people know that it's getting less and less. Original hawkers are retiring, and not all of their kids want to go into the family business. So I would say that the culinary world is not a very traditional career path in Singapore. So what was your thought process around that?
Okay, it wasn't a really difficult decision for me, but it was like I had to convince my parents because most parents wouldn't want your kid to be in the kitchen. It's like a tough life, long hours and all that. But for the hawker culture and everything, I would say like the younger generation, there are more and more younger generations going into the hawker culture, doing it their own way, and some even like taking over their grandparents' stall and thing. But I think with the prices and everything, the hawkers, they are moving towards the light up because people are generally more accepting of $7 Hokkien Mee. I think it's okay, and I wouldn't say it would affect like the culinary, how do I say, the restaurant industry, and it wouldn't be a competing thing. People want to go to hawkers, they go to hawkers. If you want to have an experience in restaurants, they are more than willing to stand in a restaurant nowadays.
So, yeah, I think people always like to complain about the hawker prices going up, but the fact of the matter is their materials and ingredients are going up as well. And I think Singaporeans are very lucky to be able to find such affordable food anywhere you go in the country, and not only affordable, but delicious. I remember I was in Australia earlier this year, and it's similar in the US. The only cheap food, which is not really as cheap as Singapore, but the only cheap food you can find is fast food. And it's unhealthy, mass-produced, frozen. So I think we're really lucky here that you can get so much affordable food around. Once you started smoking bacon, you started off small, and then how did you turn it into a business from this experiment that you did?
I started like selling to their chef friends in my class, like at cost. And then from there, we decided to just start an Instagram handle. Then we just used the Instagram marketing functions, and you get a book. We got like a following, the constant growth of following. But before we know it, we were up to 1,000 followers, and then we were up to our neck. But then where I was smoking wasn't at my home, but where I was curing the meat, it was at my home. I cured at my home, and it smoked 13 km away from my home. Unexpected thing for it to grow into such a business. But I think all the hard work, like we were just waking up early in the morning and then finishing the smoke at 4 a.m. because our smoker was just too small. We had to do 3 batches of smoking in a day, and then just a cooler full of smoked pork, like a, what do you call it? Like a cooler box. Yeah, the huge ones full of bacon, smoked bacon into my car. My car smelled like the bacon mobile. Was that it was so strong. And then by the time you're done with packing those bacon slabs and putting it in the chill for the night, it's 4 a.m., 5 a.m. So we just, my friends and I, my parents, they also helped out. And then don't forget, we have the flights, the bacon, for the orders and vacuum sealed on. So it was like a low process, just selling bacon, so it was a pretty unforgettable journey, yeah.
And the kind of business side of things, do they teach that at the CIA as well? Or was it just hands-on experience as you went?
That was, I would say, yeah, because it's like a food business management degree, our bachelor's degree. So they taught that the managerial accounting and all that kind of stuff. Of course, like marketing and psychology and everything. But that was in like the later part of the degree, I think second year. So at the start, we were just like doing our hands-on, our kitchen, learning the basics, fundamentals, and everything.
That's really cool because I'm a marketer professionally myself as well. So I heard about your bacon business from a friend on Instagram, and then I followed you and started being a loyal customer. So it was a really interesting case study in action of your business was able to grow so quickly. And then recently, I think in the past year and a half, you've opened up a restaurant location. Can you share about your restaurant?
Okay, cool. So the restaurant is called Kemuri BBQ. And Kemuri is just smoke in Japanese. It's a plate of American food with Asian influence here and there, where I introduce an Australian Wagyu brisket. Of our beef is from Australia, and they are also like crossbreed Wagyu. Wagyu is just a very loose term, but we like to use it just because of the quality and the marbling, but it's not just for the namesake.
So just 1 second to clarify for the listeners. It's a Southern United States cuisine, not South American cuisine. Southern United States barbecue.
Yeah. So like Texas, Louisiana, or North Carolina, or that kind of thing. Yeah.
And so why did you decide to make it fusion with Japanese?
When I was in Texas for internship, like when CIA sent me to Texas for internship, I just thought that being an Asian myself, having barbecue every day without rice, without the Asian staple, that was like hard for me. I just don't have bread and frisky and pickles every day as my meal. So I just had to have like rice. And then that kind of sparked then inspiration for me for this restaurant, which is, I thought, sushi rice and it's like a vinegar seasoned rice. So I thought maybe putting it as a don or bowl, a rice bowl with barbecue meats, rich, fatty barbecue meat, and just seasoned vinegar rice with all the pickles and all. It could be like the everyday convenient staple for people in Singapore.
So you actually went to the U.S. and studied at a famous barbecue joint.
Yeah, it was Laura and Lewis Barbecue. Laura and Lewis Barbecue in Austin, Texas.
And you said that was an internship as part of your program?
Culinary, yeah.
But did you get to choose, because obviously you were already doing the smoking then, so you must have chosen to find this particular place to go?
Yeah, I chose, so like my dean helped me like look for a barbecue joint that could accept me as their intern. Yeah. She had linked with Laura and Lewis Barbecue, and I wasn't the first graduate. I wasn't the first CIA student to go there. It was, I don't know if you heard Mao from Small Barbecue. Yeah, he was the first guy that went to learn who's the hinter. I went there, and then that was where I started learning Texan barbecue.
And so how is it like living in Austin and being by yourself there and getting adjusted?
It was, surreal at first, that I didn't think that I would ever live in America. Like the media and how it's portrayed, I thought Texas would be somewhat a dangerous place, but it's, to be honest, like the experience there was peaceful. The people there were beautiful, like nice, friendly, and really genuine. And then just working there, I would say like it wasn't really much of a culture shock for me, because I just loved how they were just by itself, like just having beers while you are smoking briskets, and that's the kind of life that
And so you were just very hands-on learning on the job basically for your internship?
yeah. But they had me on middle shifts, because they had 3 shifts, opening, mid, and closing. So they had me on the middle shift, and that's where I would learn a lot of how we would rotate the briskets. Sometimes I would be at the commissary where they would do their prep, because then Leroy Lewis was our food truck. So that's where we would work, and that's where we would sell the briskets. I mean, sell the barbecue meat and smoke the meat. But in the commissary, you would trim the briskets, trim the beef cheek, all that kind of stuff. Butchery was learned there, and then smoking and fire management was at the food truck.
And how much, because being in Singapore for a long time, I can't remember the last time I had brisket here. I know there's a few places and a couple of famous ones, but how much had you actually had brisket as a diner before you went there?
Not much. So I didn't really try. I only went to Red Eye Smokehouse in Singapore.
So you had your baking business going successfully and you were busy with that, but then it was like also a pretty big leap to open up your restaurant. So how did that happen?
I would say I just got the confidence to, after I came from Texas, I got a better understanding of how a quick service restaurant work. And then I just wanted to apply what I learned from Texas, and then just share it with the Singaporeans around me. So using that kind of same operation style, I tried to apply it to the restaurant that I was planning to do. But that kind of, like, there was a lot of adaptations, or there was a lot of adapting that I had to do with this new restaurant. Because at first, when I came back from Texas, we had this previous cloud kitchen at like with one of those like smart city kitchens. And then the concept was to go with, it was still like Kemuri BBQ, but we just sold like the donburis and all that through like all the delivery platforms. So there was no like dine-in, there was just fully on Grab, Deliveroo, and Foodpanda. In Woodlands or Lambas, that area, we just found that we were struggling. We couldn't really show what we were trying to do, because it's no matter what, you don't have a server or you don't have a host to tell you like, okay, this is Texan barbecue. There's no educating of like your diners. So they will just think it's, beef and rice. So end of the day, I wouldn't say we are a new brand. So it's very difficult to get like constant or like a sustainable amount of orders to survive. And I think the rent was a lot higher Gambas at like this cloud kitchen than this current place. So it was a lot more sustainable when we terminated our lease early, just so that, because we found Balestier Plaza. Yeah, because it was such a good deal. And then at that point, we just wanted to have a better environment, a more private location for us to do our smoking and barbecue and to support our Bacon King side of things, which is the, what do you call it? The deliveries and grocery sales and all that kind of stuff. But slowly we started to see traffic, like some human traffic, and they were asking like what we were doing and what kind of food we are selling and all that kind of stuff. And that was when we decided to maybe open up a little bit for dine-in. Started from there, and now it's after basically after a year, we transitioned from a small little dine-in to a 40 to 45 pax restaurant, which is quite a leap. So I feel it just started from adapting and moving to the correct circumstance and making sure that the business is sustainable.
And so how was that process of then getting more diners to eat in and doing the whole front of house service? Is that new? Because you said it was a barbecue truck in Texas, right? So they didn't really have a dining area.
Yeah, it was more like for them, it was more like they have park benches. They just have their trays of barbecue meats and they just sit down and eat there, and they buzz themselves, like they don't have. But for us, we were new. Until now, we're still like washing plates, with hand. We don't have dishwashers, and it's just something that we really had to learn, which is the process of how we're gonna, the entire SOP, standard procedure, how we are going to, from cooking the food in an appropriate amount of time to sending out the food and to bussing the food and turning over that table. That process, we had to, like my family and I, my friends that started all this with me, we had like differences and we went through a lot to set something in stone where we know that this way would work. And I would say now we're still learning and trying to get better and better in this way.
You mentioned it was really actually the customers that came there and showed interest that made you realize, oh, this is going to work better for dining in, right?
Yeah. I think they just thought that it's something very unique. You're not going to hear Texan and Japanese fusions just like that, right? This is something that is definitely out of the usual. So they just thought that the diners they want to enjoy what we do, and they feel like the people that tried our food and at the first part felt like we had the heart and we had the kind of culinary know how to make something out of this, but we just needed like a proper setup, because back then we just didn't know what we were trying to be.
So when you mentioned that customers would come in and ask you about the background, or what is this Texas barbecue and Japanese fusion together, is something very unusual. You realized that you mentioned earlier that when people actually talk to you, they become much more interested in trying the food rather than just seeing a photo of it on a delivery app.
Basically, what I would try to do to like keep the customers invested, it's just because when I was in Texas, they kind of show the process of smoking the meats and like looking at the smoker, and I want customers to look at what we were doing in the kitchen. So I'll just invite some of the regulars to come in and just take a look at what we were smoking on that day and explain to them the processes. And like a lot of people never seen like a lot of Singaporeans, they wouldn't have seen like an actual smoker and running with 50 kilos of brisket in there and short ribs. So to them, it's something like they know that this 12-hour process, they are paying for that. You're not just like any sous vide meat that they are paying for. They are paying something that is like painstakingly managing the fire, paying someone that's painstakingly like managing the fire and all that. So I believe that showcase of our craft helps us to relay that love and that southern kind of hospitality that we try to bring from Texas.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think in the US, barbecue is something like maybe laksa or char kway teow in Southeast Asia. Texas has one kind of barbecue. Other parts of the U.S. have different kinds, whether it's wet or dry, whether it's whole hog or brisket. And just like in Singapore, wherever different people have their opinion about where the best Hokkien mee is or where the best bok chor mee is, when they grow up with a certain type of barbecue, that's what they really love. So
Yep.
you guys focus on beef, but do you do ribs or any other type of barbecue as well?
We do our own pulled pork with UK Berkshire pork butt, and then we do it like Asian with an Asian flair, where we use like mirins and soy sauce and what do you call it? The Japanese 7 spices. That's our take on a pulled pork. We use rice vinegars instead of like apple cider or just distilled vinegar. We have our own St. Louis pork ribs, and then so a lot of it. I wouldn't say we have our own gumbos as well. We sell our own gumbos, jambalayas, and all that. So
Oh
there's a
yeah,
lot of mix of southern roots.
yeah, they
Yeah.
look great. So, what do you think the difference has been for your development, starting your baking business and then now opening a restaurant on your own, having only done the 6 month internship, rather than I think a lot of chefs go through stages of working under well-renowned chefs for many years before they get to open their own restaurant?
I would definitely have liked to work a little bit more with other chefs and all that. Um, but now I have to learn more and adapt more by myself. And then maybe I would try if this restaurant is a little bit more self-sufficient and self-sustainable, then able to run by itself, I would definitely like to uh, work with other chefs. So I would say maybe doing more like collabs with other chefs to learn about different styles of cooking, different tricks and all that. Yeah.
No, I think it's quite amazing because I'm sure that there's a lot of chefs who are super talented and could have cooked delicious food and have restaurants where people would want to eat. But once you get into the grind and the routine of working for somebody else and you have bills to pay, it always it's going to get harder and harder to start your own thing. It's a great opportunity, I think, for you to basically learn on your own, and who knows what will develop. I guess you probably never thought that
Yeah.
you'd have the restaurant when you started smoking the
Yeah.
bacon at home anyway.
Yeah. Never would have thought. I think a lot of it comes from like the support and help from my parents and also my two really good friends. And they have been like behind me, pushing me forward. And I think I'm really blessed basically, like to have them. Yeah.
And going back to boxing, having professional fights, plus your everyday training, opening a restaurant, running the business, how do you fit everything?
For the preparation for the fight I train every morning because that's what my schedule can fit. About 6 days a week, I would train at about 9 to or 10 a.m. all the way up to 1 p.m., something like that. And then I would rush home, take a shower, and then start my day at the restaurant. And then that would be making sure everything was going well, all the meats are nicely seasoned and prepared, and all that kind of stuff, basically. Yeah. But I would end my day, I would close together with my chefs, and that would be about like 10 p.m. by then. And then that cycle repeats all the way throughout the week. Yeah.
Have you ever had thoughts of this is just too much to handle?
Not really towards the nearing to the fight. You always get, you grow more and more tired and more, how do I say, like your mind plays with you. Like basically when you cut your weight and all that kind of stuff, your body gets more tired. The fight and the promotional things that you have to do for the fight takes a toll on you, on top of like thinking of the restaurant and everything. It's definitely a struggle by then. Yeah, definitely.
How often do you plan on fighting again in the future?
Okay, so I just got the title. Like my parents were they are not really, they don't want to watch me fight anymore. But for now, I am considering taking a short hiatus for a while. So I'm not planning to fight anytime soon. How do I say? I'm planning to open up another concept, another American concept. And we're still in plans for that.
Wow, that's exciting. But while you're taking a hiatus, are you still training or are you just completely taking a break?
I'll be just working out in the gym with my current partner, and then we will just try to keep up better, more stable health for me, because all the weight cuts and all the damage has built up over the years. So I just want to take a more relaxed approach to life now. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to fight anytime soon.
Do you think you'll miss it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's not a full retirement, but if the time is right and if like my finances are correct, then maybe I would come out of retirement to fight again. But I definitely miss it.
What is the part about boxing that you love the most?
I would say it's the showmanship and feeling everyone that has your back and that supports you. Like the glory, I would say, the glory of winning one for Singapore and your family and the gym. I think that's the most important part. The part that I miss is just having my gym, being close to them and being close to my coach. That relationship, definitely I will miss. Yeah. Yeah.
But to get to that feeling of being proud of yourself and having made everyone proud of you, it also means there's a lot of pressure before you know the outcome. How did you used to deal with that?
I think after quite a long time of fighting, you definitely feel the pressure. Yeah. You feel the stress of not wanting to lose, but you know that if you lose, it's not the end of the world. No one's gonna despise you for losing. No one's gonna hate you for it. Your family's gonna be there. Your gym's gonna be there. You just gotta be better. So it's not the end of the world for losing and all that kind. So the stresses and everything is there. You learn to live with it. End of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice, but I think it takes a lot of fights to get there. So
Thanks a lot. Definitely. I brought the title up just to show you.
let's take a look.
It's the title.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Kemuri and Baking King are going strong, and you mentioned a new concept. I don't know if you can share more about that, but long term, what does success look like for you 10 years down the road? Where would you like to be?
10 years down the road, I really want to spread the culture of Southern American food and how they run their restaurants and the kind of cocktails and alcohol that they like. The food, such as Louisiana, New Orleans food, I really want to spread that more because I think like Singaporeans' idea of New Orleans cuisine is like mostly like crawfish boils or seafood boils. So not much on gumbo and jambalayas or etouffee and all that kind of stuff. So I really want to spread that more, as well as Texan barbecue.
Yeah, I think it should be popular here, with any rice dishes. People love paella. So I love a good gumbo. It's so comforting and filling.
Yeah, I agree.
So any plans for trips back to the US for you to experience more of it again?
I would say maybe hopefully end of 2025. Yeah, we are planning to go back to maybe Texas, Portland, Oregon, just to visit like my chef, one of my sous chefs there. And then definitely Louisiana. It's my favorite place on earth.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much again, Davis, for being here. Where can people find you? Where do they go if they want to try your food?
They would go to Balestier Plaza, 400 Balestier Plaza, unit number 01-41, Kemuri BBQ. And you can find me there most of the time. I'll be there.
Yeah. And how about if they want to follow you on social?
Social would be Davis the King, Davis the King. Yeah, and also Kemuri BBQ and baconking.sg. KemuriBBQ.sg and baconking.sg.
Okay, awesome. We'll put the links in the show notes. Highly recommend everybody to try the amazing food. So thank you very much again, Davis, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Before We Get There with your host, Nicholas Braman. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Before We Get There Podcast. New episodes are released every Thursday morning. See you next time.